In color, the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
To a young woman whose daily life consists of maintaining a world for her husband, the idea of blackmail is so foreign, so repugnant, that like sudden death, it is something that happens to others. Today, Betty Anderson Cord has been blackmailed. Leslie Harrington has threatened to make public the Blaine report, a seemingly sordid moment in Betty's past, in order to force her to take Martin Peyton's will from the house and deliver it to him. Betty has tried desperately to avoid submitting to this crude maneuver. She's tried and failed. And in the shadows, Lee Weber watches, waiting for his moment in time.
Mr. Cord, please. Stephen?
Yes?
Would you mind skipping our date?
Oh, why? Where are you going?
I've just got an errand to do.
For Peyton?
Yes.
I thought you married me.
Oh, Stephen.
Oh, Stephen, notwithstanding. I hardly see you anymore. What with all the errands he sends you on, I don't like it.
All right, if you want me to meet you at the office, I will. I just didn't think it was that important, that's all. And we can have a drink together when you come home.
Fine. I'm nowhere near as important as an errand for Martin Peyton. Sure, I'll see you later.
Mrs. Cord.
Oh, Mary, you startled me. I'd forgotten you were here.
Does Mr. Cord like okra? I saw some fresh in the market yesterday. Mr. Peyton's awfully fond of it.
Well, then get it.
There's some people who have a real dislike for it. If Mr. Cord...
Mary, I don't know what Mr. Cord's feelings are towards okra. I've got to hurry. Appoint William Kennelly of Boston, Suffolk County, Massachusetts, executor. Appoint my son-in-law, Leslie Harrington, trustee of all my properties until the principal beneficiary shall reach the age of 30. Betty Anderson Cord. Betty Anderson Cord. I give, devise, and bequeath all the rest, residue, and remainder of my property of whatsoever nature, wheresoever situated, and whatsoever acquired to Betty Anderson Cord. I don't believe it. On one condition that she be married to my grandson, Rodney Harrington, within a year of my death.
The letters are ready to go.
Thank you.
And the Haywood contracts are ready for your signature.
Fine. See who that is.
It's Mrs. Cord.
Good, show her right in.
Yes, sir.
Hold all calls.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Cord?
I've got it.
Sit down. You've read it?
Yes.
Let me be the second to congratulate you.
Let me be the first to congratulate you.
What?
You're the trustee.
I'm what?
Look back a couple of pages.
He loathes Stephen. Practice makes perfect, as they say. Maybe I'll do a better job of running your life this time.
Perhaps you would if you had the choice.
I've got my orders.
Yes, but
Do you know how much the old man is worth?
no, I don't, and I don't think it's particularly relevant.
I don't think he'd appreciate a remark like that. Somewhere between 10 and 15 million.
I'd better get it back in the safe if you're through.
Little Betty Anderson, high school dropout. I must say this is a land of opportunity.
Mr. Harrington.
Little Betty Anderson, the girl who wanted to live in the big house so badly, she forced my son into marrying her.
That's enough.
But look at her now, the crown princess. I must say the old man has more sense than I thought. I never thought I'd be glad to see you and Rod back together.
But that's impossible. The old man's playing some kind of terrible joke on us. I'm sure of it.
Are you?
Yes, he's got to be.
Why?
Well, he knows I couldn't.
Couldn't what?
You know.
Marry Rod?
Yes.
You'll have to if you want the money.
No, I couldn't leave Stephen.
But the will says...
I don't care what the will says.
Do you want the money to go to the Boston Historical Society?
Yes.
You're a very bad liar.
Stephen's my husband.
You can divorce him.
I love him.
He was second choice.
He was what?
Betty, you love my son. You always have and you always will. Betty, be a shame if you let that pride of yours deprive you out of 15 million and the only man you really care for. Betty.
Aren't you done yet?
You're forgetting something.
Elliot? Do you realize what you're doing?
You've waited till Rachel's left the house, and now you're searching her room.
Connie, listen.
You're going to drive her out of the house again, and this time she won't come back.
Listen, do you remember that belt buckle that Rachel brought with her from Chandler's farm? The one that the puppy was playing with a day or so ago.
You promised me that you'd leave Rachel alone. That you'd let her live here without constantly doubting her and questioning her.
Connie? Wait a minute. There. That's what I'm looking for.
You can't stop, can you? Even after you've given me your word, you can't stop.
Now, you listen to me. This belt buckle is important. I knew there was something familiar about it when I first laid eyes on it. It took me a while, but I finally remembered. When I was in prison, some of the men used to make these belt buckles in the machine shop. They made them from discarded license tabs, and they were soldered together, just like this one is. Look, you can still see some of the serial numbers on the back of them.
That belongs to Rachel.
Honey, I don't like what I'm doing. Now, don't you understand? This belt buckle, made in some state penitentiary, came from the Chandler farm.
What makes you think that has anything to do with Chandler?
Well, Chandler was receiving mail on his farm for someone with the initials JF.
What has that to do with Jack Chandler?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out, even if it means tracing license tabs. Shouldn't be too difficult to find out what state penitentiary this belt buckle was made in. The going will really get tough when I have to start checking prisoners with the initials JF.
And after you've taken the trouble to do all that?
I don't know, honey. I don't know if it'll even bring us 1 inch closer to locating Allison, but I've got to try. It's the only thing I've got to go on, and I've got to try.
I hope you're wrong. I hope there's no connection between a man like Chandler and Allison.
I hope I'm wrong, too.
Hey,
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was a million miles away.
you meeting your husband here?
No.
Oh, well, you ask a question, you get an answer, and you go right on to the next question. You ready?
I guess I'm being rude. I'm looking for Rachel.
Oh.
You know Rachel.
Yes, one of our truly great ladies.
Come on, don't be sarcastic. She's a friend of mine.
Oh, well, I should have known. She's a friend of yours. She's a friend of the warm, lovable Carson family. She's a friend of warm, lovable Dr. Rossi. And she's a friend of warm, lovable, what's his name? Oh, yes, Rodney.
Could I please have some more coffee?
I guess that means shut up.
I guess it does.
Well, is there, anything I can do for you?
No, thanks.
Oh, well, I'm an old pro at battles because of the ones Lee and I used to have.
Please? Sandy, forget the coffee.
Rita, what are you
Don't
doing?
go up there again.
You've been waiting here just to tell me that?
Please, Rachel, you can't go up to Chandler's room.
I've got to find out something more about him.
You're really taking an awful chance.
Maybe.
You can't be alone with him in his room.
I'll be all right. Now, you should be home resting. Please? I'll be all right. Now, you go home and rest.
Doctor's hospital.
Dr. Rossi, please.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but Dr. Rossi is busy just now.
This is important, very important.
May I take a message?
No. May I hold on?
It may be a long wait, and we'd rather not tie up the lines.
Well, this is an emergency.
Are you a patient?
What sort of an emergency? It's personal. I have to talk to him. May I just hold on for a couple of minutes anyway?
All right.